All right, so we're diving into the world of crickets, grasshoppers, and katydids today.
Sounds fun.
It is. It really is. We're going deep with a YouTube video, and the channel is called Odd Animal Specimens.
Okay.
And the video is titled Everything You Didn't Know About Grasshoppers.
Catchy.
Yeah, I know, right? But, it makes you realize how much we just call all of these things grasshopper.
Yeah, I mean, we tend to lump them all together.
We do. But, they actually have some pretty unique differences.
Oh, for sure.
So,
It's a classic example of how our everyday language and scientific classification sometimes diverge.
mm,
We might call them all grasshoppers, but scientifically they belong to a larger group,
and that would be?
Orthoptera. It's an order within the class. Insect.
Order, huh? So is that like a big family reunion for insects with similar characteristics?
Exactly. It's like a branching family tree.
Yeah.
You have the vast world of insects, and then within that you have the order Orthoptera, and then within that you have families like crickets, grasshoppers, and katydids.
Okay, so they share some basic traits, but then each family kind of goes its own way and develops its own specializations.
Exactly.
Okay, well, that explains why it's so easy to get them mixed up.
Right.
But, the video starts off with a pretty funny gotcha moment,
Uh,
showing how what we think is a grasshopper might actually be something else.
It really plays on our assumptions.
Wait.
We often just look at something and make a snap judgment based on what we see.
Right.
But in the case of these insects, to really understand them, we need to go beyond just appearances.
For sure. And listening is key too, right? Because, each of these insects has its own unique sound.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like, close your eyes and imagine, that rhythmic chirping of a cricket,
Oh, yeah.
the kind of raspy sounds of a grasshopper,
Uh-huh.
and then that almost droning call of a katydid.
Like a little orchestra out there.
I know. It's amazing. And, they're not just making noise for the fun of it.
Right.
Those sounds are actually carefully crafted mating calls.
Exactly.
And each species has its own distinct dialect, so to speak.
It's true. They have their own languages.
So the frequency, the rhythm, even the volume,
All of it.
it all plays a role in attracting the right mate.
It's fascinating how much information they can pack into those sounds.
It is fascinating. The video actually shows how crickets and katydids produce those sounds,
Okay.
and it's with their wings. I was surprised to learn it's kind of similar to how a violin works.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They have this structure on one wing called a file,
Okay.
which is like a series of ridges. And then on the other wing, they have a scraper.
Uh-huh.
And when they rub those together, it creates the vibrations that we hear as their songs.
Wow. That's incredible.
It is pretty incredible.
Mm.
Okay, now we all know grasshoppers are amazing jumpers.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But this video reveals another pretty surprising use for those powerful legs.
I think I know where you're going with this.
You're talking about the poop booting.
I am.
It's hilarious to see a katydid use its leg to launch its droppings away.
It's like a tiny little field goal kick.
I know, it seems so deliberate. But why do they do that?
Well, as funny as it seems, there's probably a good evolutionary reason for it.
Okay.
Keeping their living space clean, it reduces the risk of parasites and diseases. It might also help manage resources by preventing that buildup of waste in their environment.
Okay, so it's all about hygiene.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Keeping things tidy.
It just goes to show that even the smallest creatures have developed these sophisticated ways to survive.
Absolutely.
One thing that really blew me away in the video was just the sheer variety of specimens.
Yeah, there are a lot.
It's like this cabinet of curiosity.
Yeah, I know. It's like a who's who of the insect world.
We've got giant lubber grasshoppers,
Uh-huh.
mole crickets with their shovel-like front legs,
Right.
conehead katydids with those, pointy heads,
Of course.
and then massive wittas from New Zealand.
Some of those are huge.
I know, and some have spikes and jaws that look like they're straight out of a sci-fi movie.
They look pretty intimidating.
I know, I was particularly struck by the mole cricket.
Yeah.
Having hands like that, they must be expert burrowers.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Those specialized limbs are perfect for navigating the underground world.
That makes sense.
It's a great example of how, each species within the order has adapted to its specific environment. Like you see in the wettas, too, those powerful jaws. They're probably used for both defense and catching prey.
It's amazing how every feature, no matter how strange it might seem, has a purpose.
Right.
There's a story behind its evolution.
Millions of years in the making.
Speaking of strange features, I was completely floored when the video revealed where crickets and katydids have their ears.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good one.
The ears on the legs.
It's one of those facts that makes you stop and think, wait, what?
Right. I mean, imagine having ears on your legs.
It definitely challenges our assumptions about how insect bodies work.
It really does. So how does that even work?
Well, their ears are located right below the knee.
Okay.
And unlike our ears, which pick up sound waves through the air, theirs detect vibrations in the ground.
It basically gives them a wider sensory range. They can pick up on the footsteps of predators or the signals of potential mates that are coming through the ground.
Wow. So it's like a whole other way of hearing.
Exactly.
It's incredible. You know, it just goes to show you never know what you might find when you take a closer look at the natural world.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
There's always something new to discover.
And speaking of looking closely, the video zooms in on grasshopper wings.
Oh, yeah.
And reveals this amazing array of colors and patterns.
Like a fashion show of insect wings.
I know. You've got everything from jet black to vibrant pinks and oranges.
Right. And the patterns are incredible, too.
I know. Some have these intricate designs, some are speckled, some have stripes, some even have spots.
It's like they're all dressed up for a party.
It makes you wonder, what's the purpose of all this variation?
Well, some of it is for camouflage, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Helping them blend in with their surroundings.
Right.
But those more vibrant colors often serve as a warning to predators.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they're saying, hey, I'm poisonous. Don't even think about eating me.
So it's a different kind of camouflage.
Exactly. It's about standing out rather than blending in.
That's fascinating. Now, what about those more subtle variations? Speckles and stripes and spots.
Well, that gets into the fascinating realm of sexual selection.
Okay.
Those subtle differences in color and pattern might play a role in attracting mates.
So it's not just about survival, it's also about finding a mate and passing on their genes.
Exactly. It's all connected.
I never realized how much complexity could be packed into something as seemingly simple as a grasshopper's wing.
It's amazing what you find when you look closely.
It is. Well, speaking of uncovering things, the video has a fun little challenge for us.
Oh.
It presents this puzzle using the specimens we've been talking about.
Okay.
And it asks viewers to arrange the specimens in a specific order based on clues.
That sounds fun.
It is. It's a great way to test your observational skills and see how much you've learned.
I'm up for the challenge.
So why don't you, our listener, take a moment to pause and see if you can solve the puzzle yourself.
We'll be here waiting when you're ready to hear the answer.
And dive even deeper into the world Orthoptera.
It's going to be a wild ride.
All right, so welcome back.
Back to the world of crickets and grasshoppers.
Exactly. I hope you had some fun trying to crack that insect puzzle.
Me too.
Yeah.
So how'd you do? Were you able to put those specimens in the right order?
Yeah. Let's see if you were on the right track.
Yeah.
The correct order was the Lubber grasshopper,
Okay.
followed by the mole cricket, then the conehead katydid, and finally the weta.
Not bad. It's a tough one.
It is. But even if you didn't get it exactly right,
Right.
The important thing is that you were looking at those details
Yeah,
and
totally.
making those connections.
It's all about sparking that curiosity,
Yeah.
getting people to think about these creatures in a new way.
And this video definitely did that for me. It really challenged some of those common misconceptions.
Sure.
Well, for example, we tend to think of grasshoppers as these solitary creatures,
Yeah, I guess I never really thought about it.
but they actually have quite a bit of social complexity.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The video mentioned that some species even engage in this behavior called chorusing.
Chorusing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the males will actually adjust their chirping patterns based on what other males are doing around them.
Wow. So it's like they're having a conversation.
I know, it's almost as if they're trying to outdo each other or maybe harmonize with each other.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder what other secrets are hidden in those chirping patterns.
Right. Now, earlier we were talking about those rainbow-colored grasshopper wings
Yeah.
and how those bright colors might be a warning to predators.
Right.
But what about those species that rely on camouflage? How do they manage to blend in so perfectly?
That's where natural selection really comes into play.
Okay.
Over millions of years, those individuals with slight variations in their color or pattern,
Yeah.
that helped them better match their environment.
Right.
They were the ones who were more likely to survive and reproduce.
So it's like nature is constantly running these experiments,
It is.
testing out different variations,
Yep.
seeing what works best.
And over time, those tiny advantages accumulate.
Right.
And you end up with the incredible camouflage we see today.
I mean, think about the walking stick insect.
Oh, yeah.
It's a master of disguise.
It really is. You can barely tell it's even there.
I know. It looks just like a twig.
Perfectly adapted to its environment.
It's mind-blowing how evolution has shaped these creatures to fit so perfectly into their niches.
It is. And it makes you realize how much we still have to learn about the natural world.
It does. You know, I remember as a kid, I used to love catching grasshoppers in my backyard.
Oh, yeah. Me too.
But back then, I was just focused on the thrill of the chase.
Right.
I never really stopped to think about all the amazing adaptations that were happening right before my eyes.
I think that's a common experience.
Right.
We often take these creatures for granted
We do.
without realizing how much they can teach us.
But when you really slow down and observe them,
Yeah.
you start to see those intricate connections.
The web of life.
Yeah, it's amazing. You know, this deep dive has really shifted my perspective.
In what way?
It's made me appreciate these insects, not just for their, quirks and oddities,
Right.
but also for their vital role in the ecosystem.
Absolutely. They may seem small and insignificant,
Yeah,
but they're essential parts of the food chain.
they are. They're food for birds, reptiles, all sorts of animals.
And they also play a role in nutrient cycling,
Breaking down organic matter.
returning it to the soil.
Right. So even though they don't get as much attention as, say, a lion or an elephant,
Sure.
they're making these important contributions
Absolutely.
to the health and balance of the planet.
It's all connected. Every creature has a role to play.
It makes you realize that every creature, no matter how small, has a story to tell
That's true.
and a part to play in the grand scheme of things.
I think that's a beautiful way to put it.
And, speaking of playing a part, there's one aspect of these insects that I think deserves our attention.
What's that?
Their resilience.
Mm.
Despite facing all these threats, habitat loss, pesticide, use climate change.
Right.
Many species of crickets, grasshoppers, and katydids, they continue to thrive.
They're survivors.
They are. They've adapted to a wide range of environments.
From deserts to rainforests.
And they play a crucial role in maintaining the stability of those ecosystems.
It's a testament to their adaptability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a world that's facing so many environmental challenges,
Yeah.
their ability to adapt and persevere offers a glimmer of hope,
It does. It reminds us that life finds a way.
even in the face of adversity.
And by understanding their adaptations and their roles in the ecosystem,
Yeah.
we can hopefully work to ensure that they continue to thrive for generations to come.
I hope so too. Well, this deep dive has been a real eye-opener.
It has been.
It's taken us from poop-kicking katydids
I love that.
to the intricacies of sound production,
Yeah.
the wonders of camouflage, and the vital role these insects play in the ecosystem.
It's been quite a journey.
It has. And I hope our listener has come away with a newfound appreciation
Me too.
for these often overlooked creatures.
They're truly remarkable.
I know I'll never look at a grasshopper the same way again.
Me neither. You shouldn't. There's so much more than just backyard bugs.
Right. They're these complex, adaptable, and resilient creatures
Exactly.
that offer us a glimpse into this vast and interconnected web of life.
It's all connected.
It's amazing how this video makes learning about insects so fun.
Right. It's like they found that sweet spot
We did.
between those weird facts that make you laugh
Yeah,
and the deeper science that really makes you think.
I know. It's a great example of how you can use storytelling to make science more engaging.
Totally. By weaving those details into a narrative,
Yeah,
it just makes the information stick.
it does. It reminds us that science isn't just about, dry facts and figures.
Right. It's about exploring those mysteries
Yeah.
and finding those connections that make it all so fascinating.
And those connections often go beyond science.
Oh, absolutely.
Think about how insects have inspired artists, musicians, writers.
It's true. They've popped up in our culture for centuries.
From Aesop's fables to classical music,
Exactly. They're everywhere.
crickets and grasshoppers have woven their way into our stories and our songs.
Their chirping can evoke peace and tranquility in some cultures, while in others they're seen as symbols of good luck or prosperity.
It's amazing how these tiny creatures have had such a big impact on us.
I know. It makes you realize there's so much more to them than meets the eye.
Definitely. And that's what I love about this video.
What's that?
It sparks that curiosity, encourages us to dig deeper.
To go beyond those surface-level facts
Exactly.
and explore those hidden layers.
Well, I think it's time to wrap up our deep dive into the world of Orthoptera.
I agree. It's been quite a journey.
It has. We've covered so much, from those strange anatomical features.
Like ears on their legs.
I know, right? To their complex communication,
Their social behaviors.
the amazing camouflage.
And their crucial role in the ecosystem.
It's been an incredible exploration, and I hope our listener has come away with a newfound appreciation
Me too.
for these amazing creatures.
I know I have.
I'll never look at a grasshopper the same way again.